What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. We have a bunch of stuff to go over today. We have SNK apparently teasing some game, something, and it seems to be a new game. It's not like, I guess, a remaster or a remake or something. This appears to be them going big, probably just ahead of Tokyo Game Show. We're going to talk a bit about that. And then we have to take a look at probably the largest file size, I guess, for the Switch outside of Japan that has Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. No, one that will be released everywhere. It's a pretty big file size. You're going to need at least a decently sized SD card for this one. First, though, let's talk about some of the quick news, starting with, and I can't believe it, but apparently the Wii U got an update. I know, it's weird, right? I didn't think I'd be talking about the Wii U again for a long time. I didn't really know unless there was some big breakthrough in the hacking scene or something, which seems to be pretty much exhausted by this point. If you want to get a Wii U, get it and then hack it and play around with it. There's some fun stuff you can do, but it seems like Nintendo might be maybe fighting back against that, as they released a new patch, and they actually detailed this on their website. And the patch is actually going to be jumping it up to 5.5.3. And the only thing they say is there are further improvements to overall system stability, and other minor adjustments have been made to enhance the user experience, with no notes or anything. This went live yesterday, and there's no real feature set or anything really added. They appear to just say stability. Whenever I see stability, usually I think of back-end stuff that's getting changed around, possibly to fight piracy or hacking or homebrew or exploits, anything like that. That's usually what I picture is happening, and I kind of feel like that might be what's happening here. I'd be curious to see Nintendo's, I guess, internal charts and data to see how many people are even still buying stuff on the Wii U. Although, there might actually be people still really playing and buying stuff on their shop, and maybe they're figuring, we'll put an update out just to make it even harder, I guess, for hackers, even though they seem to have pretty much forgotten about the Wii U completely. It's just weird to see an update just pop up out of nowhere. So there you go. If you have a Wii U, you can get the new update that makes it more stable. Also, it looks like the PS2 is going to be completely forgotten about now in Japan, or at least discontinued completely. See, we know it was discontinued from being sold and manufactured and put out and everything in Japan, but now it looks like you won't be able to have it serviced any longer. See, Sony would actually still fix PS2s. You could send them in and get them repaired, at least until August 31st you would have been able to. See, Kotaku actually reported that after that date, you're not able to have it repaired anymore. Sony has completely moved on from repairing them, servicing them, anything. At this point, if you have a PS2, you're pretty much going to have to seek alternative methods to either get it fixed or, I guess, just buy a new one. So I guess that completely closes the door on what was the best-selling system ever for a home console, and was right there with the Nintendo DS. That's how well the PS2 sold. It was like over 150 million. It was something crazy. So I understand Japan, being a great place for it to have sold, would have a lot of people who might even still be using it, and maybe they really did want to get it. How weird is that? You send in your PS2 in the year, 2017 up till August 2018, and you could get a new one back where they fixed it. It's pretty interesting to hear about, but I guess not anymore. And we found out a little more information about The World Ends With You Final Remix, specifically about the controller configurations you'll be able to use, as we saw some backlash for Mario Party not being able to use the Pro Controller. Well, it looks like The World Ends With You will also not be using the Pro Controller. This actually comes from US Gamer, as they went to PAX, had a Nintendo demo set up, and played The World Ends With You Final Remix, and when asking the Nintendo representative about what you can and can't use, and then as they played the game, they started to realize why. The Pro Controller is not supported. It appears to be, and I'm not kidding this here, is a single Joy-Con or the touchscreen in handheld mode. See, the thing about The World Ends With You was when it was around, it was on the DS, it did use the touch function, and when it was brought over to mobile phones, it was also designed to use the touch function on the mobile phone. Looks like it's going to be a similar way on the Switch, and then of course, when you have the Joy-Con, you can have a cursor kind of moving around the screen, and that's how they'll simulate touch on your TV. So yeah, you're not going to use your Pro Controller. You're actually going to be able to use, interestingly enough, a single Joy-Con from what they're saying, or I guess just when it's out and you're using it, use the touchscreen. They did also say there is local co-op play, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I know there was a bit of an issue there with Pro Controller on Mario Party. It looks like we're not going to be able to use those pretty nice $70 controllers for Worlds with you either. And with some of the quick news out of the way, guys, let's jump into some of the bigger stuff. We're going to start with SNK, as they put up a website that massively teases, basically tells us this is when a brand new game is going to be announced. And they even have in the URL, new SNK game. So it looks like there is a new game at least coming, and they showed, as you can see here on their website, there is a full countdown clock going, and it seems to end next Monday, around 10 p.m. Eastern, if I calculated that correctly. And that, of course, is the 10th of September. So we have a nice countdown clock there, so we can go back and take a look at it. But now we get to wonder, what is SNK going to do here? Because if this is a new game, it could be a sequel to one of their several fighting games. It could be a new IP. The big thing now is older games coming back as either remasters, remakes, or full-on sequels. We just saw Streets of Rage 4 and Windjammers 2 get announced. Windjammers was back on the Neo Geo, and it's getting a full-on sequel. And of course, the first one was remade and put out on PS4 and Vita, and now it's going to the Switch. Whereas the second one, of course, Switch and PC. So yeah, SNK could do anything here. They could bring back an old game. They could make a sequel. I'm not even sure which way to go with this one. So why don't you guys let me know down in the comments where, or at least what game you're falling on here for this, if you have a good guess. Or maybe I saw some people saying maybe Samurai Showdown could make a comeback. I'm not sure where the licensing is completely with that, and if they can make that happen, but that would be awesome if they announced like a new age Samurai Showdown. I would be all on board for that. I do know King of Fighters has already been used several times now prior, so I don't know. I guess they could go like Samurai Showdown, but they have so many fighting games they get pulled from. I guess we'll just see what they have for us next Monday, but let me know what you guys think down below. Next up, let's talk about what appears to be one of the larger file sizes for Switch games. Of course, Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 out in Japan uses almost 32 gigabytes, and it looks like NBA 2K19 is going to be pushing that as well, as it's going to be over 30 gigabytes. Yeah, that's right. It was actually put out there on the shop and everything. 31.5 gigabytes. And we're not sure about if it's going to partition some of the system memory, as 2K18, I believe, actually partitioned at least a gigabyte of your space on your internal memory that was for like saves and everything. That still was just over 20 gigabytes. This is going to be over 30, 31.5. That's pretty large. Now, of course, I will at least give 2K and Take-Two credit. They are pretty much taking the exact same experience from the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and putting it on the Switch as they did last year, where they have the frame rate, but for the most part, it looked pretty good overall. So I'm curious if the file size is just this large because, well, hey, we're moving the full experience. Those versions of the game are very large, and we cut it down as well as we could, but still over 31 gigabytes. Just make sure you have a good SD card. I feel like most Switch owners by now have probably bought an SD card, as this game won't even fit on your internal memory, as that when that partitions, it's like 25 gigabytes are left over. So I assume most of us by now have at least a 128 gigabyte SD card, but even that's getting beaten up pretty good by this one here. So I guess most of us are gonna have to start moving up, if you haven't already, to a 200 gigabyte or I guess a 400 gigabyte card, because it's starting to get kind of tough keeping all of these games on one SD card at this point, since we're probably going to get other games that are going to be as large as this going forward, especially if some third parties want to jump on and bring their very large 50 gigabyte games over. So here's hoping some of those SD cards continue to fall in price so we can snatch up some of those 400 gig cards. Next up, we're going to stick with 2K because, well, this is really funny. So you know how there are loot boxes and games of chance essentially hidden in a lot of games nowadays? Now, they are kind of backing off after the government got involved a bit, enough for them to get kind of scared and kind of get away from it. 2K has been pushing heavily with loot boxes still, with NBA and, of course, EA with FIFA, and it's not really a big deal to them for those because those are their cash cows, so they're going to jam them in as much as they can. But 2K is still not very happy about what's going on over in Belgium, as they are making these companies rip these things out. If you've seen it in the news, we had to have them pulled out of Counter-Strike, Valve did, and then we saw Blizzard had to take them out of Overwatch there. They just completely took them out. So what's going on with 2K's NBA? Well, they want you to tell Belgium what's going on here, and they want you to ask them to allow them to put loot boxes in their game. I'm not kidding. Here's actually an excerpt from a statement on their website. We are working to comply with the BGC's current interpretation of these laws. As a result, we have made some local changes to the My Team mode. These changes are necessary in order for us to accommodate the BGC's interpretation of the Belgian Gaming Act. Specifically, we will be turning off the ability to purchase packs with premium non-earned currency VC. If you agree, we recommend that you contact your local government representative to communicate your opinion. We will keep the community posted on any developments. We apologize for any inconvenience. And what they're basically saying in the last line is that they are having open conversations with, I guess, the Belgian government and everything, and how they want to be able to bring loot boxes in because the gamers want them. And they're going to let you guys know that they want them, because we're going to ask them to reach out and make their voices heard. I'm sure people are scrambling to let them know that they want loot boxes in there. I mean, a lot of people don't even say anything anyway. If there are loot boxes there, I don't think people are going to now fight to be able to pay for loot boxes in game. At least I don't think they will. Maybe let me know, guys, if you're going to send them a message and say, hey, we want loot boxes in this game. We want to be able to spend money and get loot boxes. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I just thought it was really funny that 2K is making what feels like an open call to their player base over in Belgium to ask for loot boxes and premium currency in their games. I feel like most people aren't going to go that far. They're not going to go the extra mile to get that done, but let me know, guys, if that's something you want to do down in the comments. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a game that is probably older than a lot of gamers today, and I'm talking about Doom 2. Now, you would figure that a game like Doom 2 that's been out for 24 or so years at this point would have had every secret figured out. You would have figured people would have 100% of that game by now, right? Well, actually, no. In fact, the other day is the first time this game, and I'm not kidding, has been officially 100% legit, like legitimately done without needing cheats, because there's been a secret that's been kind of eluding fans of this game, people who speedrun it and everything. There's a secret that's been eluding them for a while now. I mean, the whole time. They haven't been able to figure it out without using cheats where you hit the tilde key and do like no clip and then you're flying through walls and stuff. There's a secret that was just, it was, no one could figure out how to get it until now. And actually someone on YouTube, as you're seeing here, Zero Master, actually managed to figure this out. Now the secret's number 4 on map 15, that's the industrial zone. And there's been a secret that people have not been able to get to, and they actually figured it was just impossible, like you wouldn't be able to figure it out. Well, it turns out Zero Master figured out how to get in there by actually having an enemy push them through the wall, and the secret was actually triggered at that point. And you can see John Romero right here congratulating Zero Master for figuring it out, as they say, after 24 years. Congrats, Zero Master, finally, after 24 years. To win the game, you must get 100% on level 15 by John Romero. Great trick getting to that secret. And then he goes on and says, secret explained, a secret teleporter is marked as a discoverable secret, but when you touch it, you never enter the sector. So you would never get inside the teleporter sector to trigger the secret. The only way to trigger the secret is to be pushed by an enemy into it. So this entire time, people were figuring maybe you got to run through it, maybe there's a way into it, maybe, I don't know, maybe you just have to figure out a way to clip through the wall. They figured it was there so no one would ever be able to 100% the game. Well, turns out you need an enemy to push you through it. Who would have figured that an enemy pushes you through the map to get to this teleporter that then gets you to the secret? Apparently Zero Master figured it out, and this is one of the cooler stories to see, as a game this old is still had a secret left in it. I think there's a couple games like this, and to see it took this long, but it was finally done, and now we're talking about Doom 2 in 2018 having a secret that's been found. It's really cool to see these kind of things and have these Easter eggs kind of hidden. There is also, I think it was one in like Mega Man 9 or 10 that apparently, allegedly is still there. So maybe that one will go on for 20 years until someone finally finds it. Maybe we'll be reading about it like when we're in our 50s or something. We're like, oh yeah, Mega Man 9 or 10 or whatever. I remember that. And oh, that's what it was. It was this little thing where you get pushed through a wall or something. It's kind of neat. I actually remember playing this game with my dad forever ago. So hey, it's kind of cool to see it back in the news and to see a secret that's been hidden this long finally be found. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about all the stuff we talked about today, whether it is SNK's mystery announcement that's coming up. I'm curious what you think it is, as SNK has a pretty storied history of like beat-em-ups and fighting games. I'm curious what you think this might be. I guess it might even be maybe like a Metal Slug maybe. That would be cool to see in the year 2018 or maybe 2019 if it comes out then. I'm not really sure, but let me know what you guys think about that one down below. NBA 2K19's file size, or even I guess if you're going to go write a letter to Belgium, let them know about this loot box issue with 2K. Maybe you want them, maybe you just don't care and you're just laughing at the situation. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.